Welcome back to my channel. It's a girl, Kiki Love. If this is your first time here on my channel, thank you for stopping by. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for coming on back. So today's video is going to be a story time. So I have no idea what I'm going to title this video. I don't want to say the worst because I've been through worse. So I'll just say one of the worst job experiences I've ever been on. So if you guys want to hear this story time, then continue watching. So let me start from the very beginning. Sometime last year, I had lost my job, and to be honest, I was pretty okay with that because I had already planned on leaving that company anyway. When I'm ready, I'm gonna tell that story time. But for right now, we're gonna talk about this. So when it happened, I was like, hey, it's fine. I'll just go on like a mini vacation and I'll just chill until I'm ready to look for another job, right? So now 2 weeks passes by and I'm like, all right, I'm ready. So I look at my resume, I update it, and I'm like, all right, good. I went at the ad in a newspaper just to see who's hiring. I called up a few friends of mine, say, hey, if you know anybody, let me know. And I went out and I sent out my resume and I emailed like a bunch of people, right? So now time is going on and I'm just chilling. I'm having faith in God, saying, all right, Lord, something gotta give, something's gonna happen. I'm gonna be patiently waiting and I'll have faith. But time goes on. And it goes on and it goes on and goes on to the point where months passes by. And if you guys don't know, I'm a single mom and everything falls on me and me only. So I'm stressed out, I'm freaking out. I'm like, Lord, we need to figure something out, Lord. I ain't got no money. So now time passes by, the new year rolls around. And I'm like, you know what? I need to take a step back. Let me look at my resume. Let me see what's going on here. So I updated it. I did like a little tweaks. And then I went back into looking for jobs, right? And I sent the new and improved resume with an email, might I add. So I go ahead, I do that, and almost immediately I started getting calls and emails back. And I'm like, Lord, please, like, thank you so much. Because at this point, I was bougie, like, nah, I don't want to work there. No, I don't want to work here. I got desperate. You know, bills kept going up and no funds was coming in. And at that point, I had started my business. And because I just started, the money wasn't flowing in, right? It wasn't flowing in. It held me for a minute, but it wasn't flowing in. And then I saw this place that was hiring and they were looking for a cashier, right? So I noticed where they had two emails. Obviously it was a woman and a man, but they also had a number there. So I give them a call, ring, 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 ring. I dial a number because in my head, I'm like, all right, I just need to talk to this person. Whoever you are, I need to talk to you. So I call them and a lady picks up.
I want to make this, oh, please, please, God, someone, please. Let me do this, let me do this, let me do this. Yes! 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 Yes!
Hi, good day. And we're gonna call this place, and it was a restaurant. I'm not sure if I said that, but let's call this restaurant, because it was a man and a lady, I'm gonna say his and her flavor. So she picks up and she says, hi, good day. His and her flavor, how may I help you? The ads in the newspaper, want to know if the position is still available. So she says, yes, it's still available. And she asks me to send my resume to both emails, right? And before I hung up the phone, I asked her, what's your name? And let's name her Stacy. And I'm not sure if I mentioned, I had already recorded this video. So if it seems... Sorry, I forgot to mention, the first time I recorded this video, I had a lot of technical difficulties. So I had to record the whole thing all over again. Seems as though I'm rushing. I kind of am. I'm also headed to work, so I'm recording this before I go to work. I got me like an hour to do this, so I got stuck out. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. After we hung up the phone, I sent my email and I sent my resume, right? Almost immediately, I got an email back, right? And I'm not sure if I mentioned, this was a Thursday that I had sent this email. It was in the morning. I think it was later in the morning, like maybe about 10 o'clock. But I had sent the email and almost immediately she responds back. And she says, "Good afternoon, Kendria." First of all, I don't know why people spell my name wrong, but they do. But she says, "Good afternoon, Kendria. Can you come in for an interview tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.?" I respond back and I'm like, "Thank you so much for your email. Yes, I will be able to come to the interview tomorrow. I just need a location." She texts me, well, she emails me back, says, "Sure, I will." Right? So that whole thing happens. And I'm excited, and I'm letting my boyfriend and my sister and a few people know, yes, finally, for months and months and months, I'm out here struggling, trying to find a job, and someone hits me back up, right? I have an interview to go to. So keep in mind, it is Thursday it had to be maybe around 12 at this point. I might have emailed her later on in the morning, maybe around 11 or so. And then anyway, I don't know the times, but it was earlier in the day, right? So now I'm waiting and I'm waiting for her to send me a location. I'm not sure if she's going to email me. I'm not sure if she's going to WhatsApp me because my number is in my resume. So I'm not sure how she's going to contact me. So now time goes on and the interview is for Friday morning at 10 a.m. And I'm trying to figure out, like, when is she going to send me the location? I don't know where I'm going to be going. I need to go to the interview. How am I going to know where I'm going, right? So the number that was on the site, I call it. I let her know, "Hey, hi, remember me? It's me, Kiki. Can you send me the location?" She says, "Sure, yeah, no problem. I'll send it to you," right? Now time goes on and on and on. Do you know what time she sends me the location? She sends me the location at 11, I think it was 45 p.m. 11:45 p.m. Down near midnight, she sends me the location. She WhatsApps me the location. And of course, I was up because I'm waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. I didn't get a response. So I messaged her back, "Thank you, I'll see you tomorrow," right? That was a red flag. Because that shows how unprofessional you are to message me at damn near midnight. I saw it, I noticed it, I acknowledged it, and I said, "You know what? We're gonna see how this goes. First of all, you need a job, okay? You need a job. Money needs to come in at this point." I ain't got no money. So now let's fast forward to the day of the interview. So now it's the day of the interview, and I think I took some videos and pictures. If I did, I'm gonna put it here somewhere. And I get there, and let's just say, let me give you guys like a setup, right? The entrance. On my right is the cash register and then the bar section. There's a bar right here, right? And over here is a dining area section. So there's tables and chairs. So immediately I noticed that there's a lady behind the cash register, and I walk over and I introduce myself. "Hi, good day, I'm so-and-so and I'm here for the interview," right? All she says is, "Okay, you can go ahead, you can have a seat." So I walk over in the dining area and I sit down all the way to the back. Okay, all the way to the back. But instead of me facing this way, my back isn't towards her. My back is basically towards the wall, right? And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to take a look around to see what's going on around me. Who's walking inside? How is she behind the cash register? Who all works at this company? So I would say maybe about 5 minutes, maybe even like almost 10 minutes passes by, and she comes to me and lets me know, "Hey, we're going to be waiting on, and this is where we're going to give this person a name." Remember, I said there were 2 emails. There was a lady and there was a guy, right? And she tells me we're going to be waiting on, we're going to give him a name, Mr. Jones. So she says, "Okay, we're going to be waiting on Mr. Jones. He's also going to be here to interview you," right? Mind you, she never introduced herself and said her name when she walked in. Keep that in mind. So now I would say about 30 to 40 minutes had passed by, and Mr. Jones finally comes. So he comes in He introduces himself to me. They go to the back for like a minute or two, and then I notice that the woman who's behind the cash register is coming up walking towards me, and she has like a little booklet in her hand and she's smiling, right? She walks up and she was like, "Hi, I'm Stacy. I will be interviewing you today." And I'm like, I knew it. I knew this was Stacy, and I knew she was going to be the person who was going to be interviewing me today. I just knew it. I knew it. And that's the reason why I sat down all the way to the back so I can see the whole entire restaurant, just to see like if this lady, Stacy, is going to be coming in or if this was her. And let me describe Stacy and Mr. Jones. They were obviously older. I would say Stacy looks like she was in her 40s, maybe her early or mid 40s. Tall. She had to have been like, maybe, she was dark skin also. She was about my skin complexion, her and Mr. Jones. She was about, I would say, I'm 5'5", so she had to have been like 5'7". She was taller than I was. She was thick. Okay, she was tall. She had her weight. It's very natural. Her hair was, I think her hair was like in some really tiny braids, pulled back, and little to no makeup. Mr. Jones obviously was an older gentleman. He had to have been like in his 50s, maybe his like late 40s. No, I'm lying. He said, I think he told me his age. He was in his 50s, mid 50s. And like I said, my skin complexion, and he just looked like a dad. That's the best way I could explain it. He looked like a dad, right? Anyway, so we sit down and the interview starts. And Stacy is going on. It's mostly her talking at the beginning, and then Mr. Jones chimed in a little later on. So we're talking. She's telling me that this is a restaurant, but during the pandemic, they kind of branched out to a bar. And this is where they need me to work only morning shifts, because the night shifts are straight, it's good. But they need me to work the morning shifts. They need me to bartend, be a barmaid, and cash. Keep in mind, I thought I was only going to be cashing, right? So when she tells me, hey, we're not just looking for someone to cash, we're looking for someone to work behind the bar as well. I'm like, okay, sure. I let her know, hey, just to give you a heads up, I let them know, just to give you a heads up, I have never worked in a bar. I'm not a big drinker. It's only like 2 handful of drinks that I really know at heart. I don't drink that often. She's like, okay, sure, no problem. We'll train you, right? Keep in mind, she said, we'll train you. And I made sure to specify I need to be trained. I am a teachable person. Trust me, I'm teachable. You just got to train me. So anyway, the interview goes on, and I would say it went really, really good. We sat down and we talked for like a little over an hour, and it went really good. The only red flag I had when we were talking is that Mr. Jones and Stacy talked shit about some of the girls that used to work there. I saw that was like red flag number 2, honestly. And I saw that and I was like, ooh. Because now I'm realizing that Mr. Jones and Stacy, this is their company. So they're the boss, they're the CEO, whatever you want to call it. This is their company. This is their restaurant and bar. So for the boss to be talking so ill of some of the people that work there, I thought that was strange. And I saw that as a red flag. But anyway, interview ends, I exit, go home, talk to my peoples, and I let them know I was excited, right? So later on that night, I got a WhatsApp from Stacy. And again, this is something I noticed that Stacy does. She messages me really late at night, right? So later that night, Friday, and I forgot to mention during the interview, so it was Friday, they were looking for someone for Monday. And as the interview was ending, Mr. Jones, he said something. I can't remember what he said, but he said something. And it almost seemed as though, okay, well, I'll see you Monday. She was like, hold on, hold your brakes. We can't just show all of our cards. Let's think about this first, and then we'll hit her up, right? So at that point, I had already figured, okay, I got the job. It's easy. I've cashed for over 10 years. I know how to cash. Bartending shouldn't be that hard. Once I'm being trained, I should be good, right? So anyway, fast forward, night comes, and Stacy messages me at 9:13 at night on WhatsApp. She texts me and says, hey, good night, so-and-so. Thank you for taking the time to come to the interview. If you're still interested in the position at his and her flavor, we will be delighted to have you join our team. So she goes on to telling me how much I'll be getting paid and X, Y, and Z and all that stuff. I was up at that time and I decided not to message back because I really tried to like break her messaging me and feeling comfortable with messaging me after hours. I thought it was unprofessional. I decided to message her back the next day. So next day comes, now it's Saturday morning, and I told her, I said, good morning, yes, I accept the offer. Thank you so much. I'll see you at Monday at 10 a.m. And then I went on to asking her about uniforms and stuff because she never really told me, right? So now let's fast forward to Monday. Monday comes and I'm there on time, but guess who's not? I don't see any other car in the parking lot except for mine. What's going on? What's happening? I need to know what's happening. What's going on? I'm like, okay, it's 10 o'clock and I see nobody else. It's literally just me here. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm talking to my boyfriend and he's kind of not excited about me working at a bar because all he heard was bar. And he was not excited and he did not want me working there. So I'm talking to him and we were kind of vibing, to be honest. And then she finally comes, maybe about like 10-15 minutes later. And she comes, we walk inside, and the first thing she does is show me around the place. Lets me know where the office is, let me know where the bathroom is, and we turn on these lights, and she's showing me the POS system, just the whole nine works, right? She's letting me know my duties as a cashier / barmaid. And I'm noticing that, okay, it's just me and Stacy. Nobody else is coming. And this is when she proceeds to let me know that they're also looking for a cook. I'm not sure if I mentioned this was a very, very small restaurant, very small business. It wasn't huge. The staff was very, very small. Everyone that's mentioned in the story is everyone that worked there. That's it. But I'm noticing that it's just me and Stacy. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, so where's everybody else? She proceeds to let me know that there's a lady that works in the kitchen. We're not going to give her a name, but there's a lady that works in the kitchen that helps her out. And there are like 2 more girls that work the night shift. Then she hands me a black and white book and she tells me just write down inventory. Everything that's behind here, she says, write it down. Just write down inventory. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem, right? So now time goes on, and I think throughout the whole day, I probably had maybe like 1 or 2, maybe even 3 customers. It really wasn't much because it was a Monday and it was really, really slow. The whole day, which was red flag number 4, well, red flag number 5, 6, because the red flag was her messaging me so late and then her coming in late. Anyway. So red flag, whatever number, was Stacy just gossiped about old staff. She did it in the interview and she did it again. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I figured, okay, she's probably just excited. And some of the stories she was telling me, I was kind of surprised myself because I'm like, what the hell? Like, people actually come on jobs and ask these questions and do this and do that. Time goes on and I'm realizing, okay, I have to pick my boyfriend up from work. So I let Stacy know, hey, is it fine if I leave out on my lunch break? Because I'm obligated to lunch, right? So I let her know, hey, is it fine if I leave out for 4 o'clock to go pick up my peoples and I can come back? She said, yeah, sure, no problem. So I leave out and I do that. I come back. And Stacy proceeds to let me know about like 2 frequent customers that always come inside. She lets me know, hey, there's a guy and there's a woman. There are customers. And she's telling me the list of things the guy normally gets, like his order when he comes in. And she's telling me about the woman when she comes in, she just sits down in the corner to herself, have a couple shots, and then she leaves. So now time rolls on. Nothing really crazy happened that day other than her gossiping about people, right? That was like the only red flag, well, the second red flag on the first day. So time goes on. It's time for me to close out. And this is where we're going to introduce the other girl. Let's name her let's name her Julian. Let's name her Julian. So this lady, she walks in and I'm like, all right, this girl looks like she worked here. So I noticed where she walks behind the bar and she introduces herself to me. She says, hi, good day, good night, my name is Julian, right? And I'm like, hi, Julian, whatever. We do that whole introduction. But by the time Julian came in, there was a customer in front of us. So it was a really quick introduction. It happened within a matter of seconds because I'm counting out my draw. I'm counting out my float so that way she can now take over, right? So at the end of all of that, I'm like, I'm so sorry, like we wasn't really able to talk. I know there's a customer, we're switching. And I'm like, we'll talk later, but it's really nice to meet you. That day happens, right? Now let's talk about the next day. Now, this day, my boyfriend is off. So he drops me off to work and we pull up, no one's there. No cars, nobody, except for this lady standing in front of the door, right? And this lady, she's literally trying to like look inside to see who's in here and what's going on and who's in this car. And my boyfriend is like, what is she doing? And mind you, like I said, we were kind of going back and forth. So I'm like, with attitude, I don't know who this lady is or whatever. I don't know why she's looking in the car, but she's like really trying to look in. About 10 minutes goes by and Stacy finally comes. And at this point, Stacy had added me in the group, all the groups, and she messaged in the group saying that she's running late. So she finally comes, and this is when she finally introduces me to the lady that was looking in the car. And the lady that was looking in the car is the helper in the kitchen. And the first thing I noticed is that this lady has an accent. She's not from here. That's the first thing I noticed. Okay, this lady she's not from here. Now I'm doing the whole thing all over again. I'm setting up, opening up, you know, the whole spiel, right? Doing inventory, opening up the store, turning on the lights, the music and all that stuff, right? And time is going on, and again, Stacy is like, when it's slow, she just wants to gossip. So she's talking about people, she's gossiping, and I'm like, okay, I cannot tell the boss, I could, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to overstep because at that point, you know, because she's gossiping about everyone. And I'm not going to repeat everything she said, but one of the things that she told me was one guy. He came in and of course, like I said, they were looking for a cook. And this guy came in and I guess, you know, he might have been overqualified for the position. And the first thing he did was like look around and he basically told him like, yeah, you guys can do this, you guys can do that to like improve the restaurant. And she had a problem with it. She was like, sir, I didn't ask you to come in here to tell me what to do in my restaurant. I just need a cook for the kitchen. So because of that, I'm like, okay, let me not tell her, hey, I don't want to hear you gossip, because she was pissed off that the guy came in trying to change things up in her restaurant. So I was like, anyway, okay, I won't say anything. I just will nod. What did he say?
What did he say?
I won't say customers, but people looking for work was calling in, asking if we were hiring. And I let Stacy know, hey, people, they're asking if we're still hiring. She says, well, we don't need no cashier. Just tell them we need a cook, right? So I'm like, yeah, you heard, she. We don't need no cashier because I got the job. I got it, me. Yeah, me. Yeah, me. Time goes on, and the second day is when I finally had lunch, because the first day I didn't. I had to pick babe up from work. Second day, have lunch, and by this time, the frequent customer, the male customer she had told me about, he comes in. And, you know, we do that whole introduction. She introduced me to him or whatever, and we're just talking or whatever, right? But now it's my lunch break. So I go ahead, I sit down, I have my lunch. Took a picture and I sent it to babe. So I'm gonna put it up here somewhere. That whole thing happens. Time goes on and it's time for me to clock out and go home, right? This second day was when I met the other girl. Julian did not come in Tuesday. I guess she was off. But another girl came in. But I'm thinking it's a customer. So I'm like, hi, good day, whatever, welcome in. And she says hi and she walks in behind the bar. I'm like, okay, so I'm guessing this is the second girl. She says, hi, my name is, and this is where we're gonna give her a name. Let's call her Tiffany. Let's call her Tiffany. So she comes in, she introduces herself. She says, hi, my name is Tiffany or whatever. First thing I always ask, and I didn't get a chance to do this with Julian because we were like literally just like passing, but I was able to ask Tiffany, how long have you been with the company? So she's letting me know she's been here this long and she's a nurse and this is technically her second job. So that's all I knew about Tiffany. She came in, I would say at 5, I got off at 6. And when she came in, another frequent customer that Stacy told me about with the woman, she comes in, she sits down, and Tiffany knows this woman already. So she goes to her, she serves her, gives her her shot, and she's like, she got this. An hour flies by, like it literally flies by. And it's time for me to leave, right? That's the second day. It's Wednesday. Again, I'm not driving. My boyfriend dropped me off to work, so I don't have to pick him up, right? So third day comes, and again, it's the same thing. Stacy is just not there. Every single day, I waited on Stacy. She texts us in the group, hey, running late. She comes in like 10-15 minutes later, and we do the whole thing all over again. One thing that I'm noticing, Stacy is not training me. It's like she was looking for someone to talk to, someone to cash, and just vent to, right? So as I'm writing down inventory, I told Stacy, I said, I don't think you're understanding that I need to be trained. And my weak point is behind the bar. Because I'm not a big drinker, I need to learn the different measurements when we're making mixed drinks. If you're pouring out a shot, which are you putting it in this cup, that cup, what are you putting it in, right? I guess this is where she finally understands that, hey, I really need to train this girl, right? And I didn't mention the first 2 days, I asked questions. I did. I asked questions, and this is why on the third day, I'm like, all right, I need to let her know. Because she's not picking it up. Stacy asks me the weirdest fucking question. She says to me, the owner, how do you want me to train you? Have you never trained anyone in your life? I told you I need to be trained. You said okay. But it's like you're only looking for a buddy. What's going on? I don't understand it. Talk to me, Stacy. What do you mean? He's like, help me help you. What?
Help me! Help me!
I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Well, in some companies, they have handbooks. I'm not sure if you noticed that. Measurements, portion sizes. Don't you have none of that? And she's like, okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. And at that point, she had hired me not just to cash and bartend, she wanted me to help promote the bar. Earlier, I let her know, hey, I want everyone to come together, wear something really nice and sexy, flexy, and all that stuff. And we'll do like a little commercial or like a little video, something for TikTok. And on social media, we'll post it, right? Just to invite customers to come in and sit down at the bar. She says, well, how about this? How about we have a training session Sundays when we're recording to promote the bar? Let's also train on Sunday as well. And at that point, Tiffany, I guess she wanted to like add some drinks and whatnot to the menu for his and her flavor. And so we were going to do all of that Sunday. I'm like, all right, cool. It was crazy. The fact that she asked me, like, with so much confusion, do you want me to train you, and how do you want me to train you? Like it was like she was asking me how to train you. Here's something that I forgot to mention. Stacy told me she wanted me to write inventory strictly and only so that I could memorize everything. So she was trying to find a way not to train me. What? Time goes on, and like I said, each and every day it got busier and busier and busier. So now I get a phone call, and it's a phone order, and let's say she asks for, this lady, it's a woman by the way, she asks for shrimp fettuccine and nachos, right? So she placed in her order, and I'm like, okay, what's your name? Let's just say she said Aaliyah, right? But the name she actually gave me, it was like a very unique name. So she gives me this like very unique name, and Stacy comes out of the kitchen, and she was like, well, who's that? Who's that on the phone? What's her name? What's her name? And I'm like, hold on, give me a second. Just give me a second, because I still have this woman on the phone. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, who's calling? Hold on, ma'am. It's Aaliyah. Yeah, it's Aaliyah. And no, I'm not going to do that. So I'm like, hold on, give me a second. So she placed her order. I hang up the phone, and then I tell Stacy it was this lady named Aaliyah. She's like, are you sure? She said Aaliyah. And I'm like, yeah. That's the name she gave. She said Aaliyah, yeah. So a little while passes by, and I noticed that Mr. Jones is outside bringing in inventory, and he also has someone with him. So he walks in, and this lady, she walks in after him. She walks straight to the cash register and says, hi, I'm here for phone order Aaliyah. Aaliyah proceeds to tell me that she doesn't normally live over here. This is her first time eating from this restaurant, and I'm like, okay, it seems like you guys know one another because you came together, you walked in together. I'm seeing everything on the screen, so this is how I know they came together. Stacy walks out of the kitchen. She hands me the food. Aaliyah pays. And almost immediately when Stacy walked out of that kitchen, tension, you could just cut it with a knife. She was just so happy, jolly when she was talking to me. And then when you came out, everything changed and switched up. And you can tell where Stacy was trying to engage in conversation with Aaliyah, and Aaliyah was like, ma'am, here's my money, give me my food, and I'm ready to dip out and go, right? So that whole thing happens. A few minutes later, they leave. She stands by the register, and she was like, I don't know what's wrong with her. She probably thought I was gonna spit in her food. And this is where she proceeds to tell me that that girl, Aaliyah, was actually Mr. Jones' daughter. And Stacy and Mr. Jones is actually a couple. I didn't want to assume. I figured they were a couple, but she confirmed it for me. And I'm like, all right, cool. So this is not your biological child. This is your stepchild. And this is what's going on here. And this is the tension, right? What's going on. And she proceeds to tell me that they never really had like a good relationship. And years and years and years ago, when she entered in Mr. Jones' life, she just never really liked her. And then she tells me the name. Why she asks me the name is because that's her, Aaliyah's daughter's name. And her name, let's just say, is like Cece or something. And Cece's daughter name is Aaliyah. So she gave a fake name. And she was like, why did she give us her daughter's name? Well, like, what was her problem? Like, did she think I was gonna spit in food? She knows me better than that. I'm not gonna spit in her food. Like, why wouldn't she give me her name? And she goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Like, oh my God. Okay, at that point, this is not the place for me. I am not a big fan of gossip. And it was just so excessive because this is only my third day. And the first time I met you in person, you gossiped. Third day gossip. Fourth day gossip. Oh my God. I forgot to mention, Stacy gossiped and talked shit about people to the point where she even talked shit about Mr. Jones. I was like, this woman is crazy. Phone calls are coming in. People are asking for hiring, and low-key I'm like, yes, we are hiring. You can send your resume, whatever, X, Y, Z. Because I'm planning on staying here. And keep in mind, this whole entire time, I'm still getting emails. I'm still getting calls. People are interested in having me to work at their company. So I had already made up in my mind, hey, I'm going to look for work where else. Throughout all of this happening, my little guy wasn't feeling good. If you want to know how that whole thing happened, I'm gonna leave it up here somewhere. But through all this going on, he wasn't feeling good. So phone calls are coming in. I'm letting them know, send your resume, okay? Because I won't be here. So she's done. She finally stops talking about Cece/Aaliyah. The day comes, it's time for me to close up. The frequent customers that are coming inside, I'm dealing with them, and we're just chatting up, we're talking and whatnot, and we're having like a jolly all the time. We're talking about like relationships and whatnot, right? End of the day comes, I close up, I have my lunch, and I leave, right? I forgot to mention, I had also asked Stacy if I can get Monday off so that I can take my little guy to the doctor on Monday, right? And this is where she told me Tiffany had already asked for Monday off. And this is where I found out Tiffany's married and her anniversary is coming up. She had already asked, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, no problem, sure. And then she tells me, well, if you need like anything or whatever, just let her know ahead of time. Stacy also mentioned, how about I just take my little guy to the doctor's Saturday? Because I was off Saturday and Sunday. So now I'm realizing that I have to pick my boyfriend up from work Thursday and Friday. I'm like, all right, let me let Stacy know, because she did tell me to let her know ahead of time. So I sent her a voice note later on that night. I think it was actually 9:53. And the reason why I felt comfortable messaging her, I didn't feel comfortable, but she kind of opened up that box because she always messages me late at night. So I sent her a voice note.
Give you a little heads up. I remember you said to give you a heads up if anything. But tomorrow and Friday, I will have to take lunch around the same time again as I did Monday. So hopefully this isn't too late. I know you said to give you a heads up, but I'm just finding out myself. But I said immediately, let me let you know.
All she said was okay. O and K, not O, K, A. I'm trying to do it like backwards. Why? She just said okay. And I'm like, all right, don't freak out, you know. She didn't spell it all the way. She just said okay. Maybe that's how she texts, right? So next day rolls around, it's Thursday. Drop my boyfriend off to work. I come to work, and guess who's not there? Guess who's not there? Yes, Stacy. Stacy's not to work. Who's always late? Stacy. Whoa, that's a terrible screenshot. But anyway, I'm not saying that I've never been late to work, because trust me, I have. But it is terrible for the boss to be late every single day. It's a bad look for the boss. This is your company to be late every single day. Let me just say that. So she comes, and you can tell where her attitude is kind of low. And I'm already like self-conscious, because I'm not sure if it's because I need to leave out and pick up my people, right? We do the whole thing all over again, you know, setup, inventory. And she lets me know, hey, you know, we're gonna have to figure something out, because I cannot leave at 4 to pick up, because around that time is when a lot of customers come in. And I'm the only person in the store. Can't cook and serve all at once, answer the door all at once. And I fully understood it. I agree with her, right? So I'm like, all right, we're gonna have to figure out something for next week, but I definitely for sure have to leave out today and tomorrow. For sure I have to. So she lets me know that, and she tells me she could have called like one of the girls to come in a little earlier, and I was confused because you texted me okay the night before, and this was the reason why she had that attitude. You told me okay. So you made it seem as though it was fine, even though within myself I'm like, she just said okay instead of spelling out the word okay. So she complains about that, and I realized, okay, time is going on. A lot of customers are coming inside, and I'm like, oh God, this is what she was telling me about. People are coming in, and she can't do all of this by herself, because the lady that works in the kitchen, she left out every day, maybe around, I think it was maybe 1 o'clock, and she would maybe 1 or 2, and she would be gone for a little while, and then she would come back, right? So it's like Stacy's the only person who's in the store. whilst I'm headed out or whatever. But I'm noticing time is going, and it's almost time for me to leave. And I hit my boyfriend up like, hey babe, is there any way possible? Because he's like supervisor. And I'm like, hey babe, is there any way possible that you could leave out just like 30 minutes early? And he's like, no, I can't. I'm like, fuck, okay, all right, cool. So I'm like, all right, Stacey, it's time for me to go. I'll head out and get my boyfriend, you know, I gotta go. She's like, you know what? It's actually okay. You can stay home for the rest of the day. She had called Tiffany to come in to cover me, right? She's like, it doesn't really make any sense you being here. Tiffany's gonna cover the rest of your shift. So I was like, oh, okay. It's alright. We gonna be good. We gonna be good. Friday rolls around, and let me just say again, I still have calls coming in. I still have interviews coming in. I had accepted an interview for Friday morning, right? I believe the interview was for 9. Again, my son was sick, so I'm like, all right, here's what I'm gonna do. Friday morning, I'm gonna go to this interview, right? I had all intentions on still staying at the restaurant until I found something else. I'm gonna go to this interview, head to work. Saturday, because Stacy had told me, how about you take your son to the clinic Saturday instead of Monday. So I'm like, all right, that's what I'm gonna do. Saturday morning, clinic, right? That was the plan. But of course, as I'm in the middle of getting ready for my interview, and as I'm in the middle of getting ready for work, my son is in pain. And I won't say excruciating pain, it's just pain to the touch. And this thing that was going on with him is getting worse. It's on his skin and it's getting worse. And I freak out. I thought it was monkeypox. But then I'm like, it cannot be monkeypox, because monkeypox kind of spreads all over the body, and it's kind of not all over his body. So I don't think it's monkeypox, but the thing is, I don't know what it is. And it's painful to the touch. Stacey's gonna have to understand. She's gonna be pissed because the night before, she just told me she needs someone to be here because it's only her, right? It's only my first week. She's gonna be mad. But it is what it is. I'm a mother. No drama.
Bitch, I'm a mother! No drama!
So I hit her up. I'm so sorry, Stacey. I will not be able to make it into work. My little guy, he's not feeling well. And she messaged me back and she says, good morning. So sorry to hear that. I hope he gets well soon. So that whole thing happens. I go to that interview and immediately I rushed out, got my little guy, and I took him to the doctor, right? If you guys want to see that vlog, that whole thing happened, I'm gonna leave it up here. It is Saturday and I have a photo shoot. I don't have work Saturday and Sunday. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to this photo shoot, get that done, and just chill. I'm like, all right, at this point, he should be fine. He has his medicine and everything, right? And I forgot to mention this whole story time. I had asked Stacey if she needs my bank information so that she could make payments. I could get my money. And she tells me, no, actually we give cash and payday is Saturday. And the reason why payday is Saturday is because on Friday, she would find it that when you get paid on Friday, people would not come to work Saturday. So they switched it up. Payday is Saturday at the restaurant, right? But like I said, so much had happened. If you guys want to see what happened, go ahead and watch that vlog. But a lot has happened. And I have this photo shoot for later on in the evening. And that photo shoot lasted for hours. We went to 2 different locations and it lasted for hours, right? And by the time as I got home, I was like, all right, I'm tired. I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna crash, wash my makeup off and just chill. When I realized, oh shit, it's Saturday. I need to go and pick up my pay. It was way too late. It was night by that time, right? So I messaged Stacey, right? Remember now, the last time I heard from Stacey was Thursday, and you can just take the rest of the day off. That's the last time I saw Stacey in person. Friday, I told Stacey can't come in, right? Keep that in mind. So I messaged Stacey and let her know, hey, say good night, Stacey. Hope all is well. Will I be able to pick up my pay tomorrow? And when I say tomorrow, I mean tomorrow, which is Sunday, because we're having the meeting Sunday, right? This is what I'm thinking. So she messages me back and she says, good night. Yes, you can. But I thought you were coming to the meeting because we will not be here until 5 o'clock. I'm a bit confused if you were coming tomorrow. Why ask question? Please explain if you're not returning to the job so I could make preparation. I said, oh my goodness, I thought the meeting was for tomorrow. My apologies. I got the days mixed up. Hence the reason why I asked if I could pick it up tomorrow instead. I'm confused because no one called me for a reminder. And yes, I will be returning to work. So there's no need. My son is just sick, but I will be returning, right? Because she asked me, as you guys can see in the receipts, she asked me if I'm returning back to work, if I'm like leaving. And the thing Stacy complained about was people just leaving. All staff just leaving on their lunch break, all staff just coming in for like a day and just walking off of the job. So I'm trying to give her comfort and let her know, hey, even though I'm looking for work, I'm still gonna give her a heads up instead of just walking off and not returning. But I'm letting her know, hey, just chill, just relax, I'm coming back. I asked her, it's possible I got the days mixed up because the shop is opened this Sunday, right? All she said to that was, yes, we open Sunday. See you tomorrow at 5. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I missed the meeting because I had so much going on. Like, my son's sick. I have a photo shoot. I'm up and down. I'm running a business, and my boyfriend and I were like getting into it. And we're back and forth. So much is going on. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I missed the meeting. The only reason why I had messaged her for my pay is just we're communicating. That's all I'm doing. I'm just communicating confirmation. Hey, I'm sorry. I know payday is Saturday, but I know we're having a meeting Sunday. Is it okay if I just pick up my pay once we're having this meeting? Right? That's all I wanted to know. Anyway, so Sunday comes and it's later on in the afternoon. Now I'm getting dressed. I have on just a simple outfit. I don't have on nothing special, right? Simple outfit. I have on just jeans and a tee, no makeup, and my hair, I think I had it in one, or maybe it had like a weave. I look basic. So 5 o'clock comes, I'm leaving out, and I get a call. And it's a female, and she's like, hey, where are you? I'm like, who is this? This number's not stored to my phone. Like, who are you? What are you calling me for? She's like, oh, this is, what did I name her? Tiffany. She says, oh, this is Tiffany. I'm like, oh, hey, Tiffany. I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, oh, nothing. Just wanted to see, where are you? And I'm like, I'm actually headed to the restaurant right now. I said, are you going to be the one giving me my pay? She says, no, it's not me. And then I asked, I'm like, is Stacy there? She says, yeah, Stacy's right here. So I'm trying to figure out, why are you calling me? Because in my mind, the interview, in my mind, the meeting had already happened. The meeting I had already missed, right? So I asked Tiffany, is there anything happening today? Let me say that again. I said, is there anything happening today? At this point, I'm on the way there. Is there anything happening there? Happening today? She says, no. She legit says, no, nothing's happening.
Nope.
Okay, well, I'll see you once I get there, right? Click. And I thought that was so freaking weird. Like, why would she call me for no reason? Like, anyway, I'm headed there. I'll see what that was all about, right? So I finally get there, they're opened, and a customer is inside, right? And the minute I walk in, Stacy, Julian, and Tiffany right behind the counter, they're laughing, they're hee ha ha, right? The minute I walked in, to my right, everyone just got serious. And I'm like, oh shit, like, are they mad at me because I didn't come into work Friday? What can I do? My little guy was sick. He was sick. And I'm like, hey guys. Hey. How y'all doing?
Hey. Hey. How y'all doing?
And I'm like, they're like, with the driest hail. Julian was the only one that gave me like a real hail. Stacy hailed, then walked back to the office. I'm thinking she's gonna go get my pay. Tiffany said hey and then walked over to the customer. Julian stayed and was like, hey, is everything okay? Like, are you leaving? Are you quitting? And it took me back. I'm like, no. I mean, even though I just wanted an interview, I'm like, no, I'm not. No. I'm not. What? I'm like, did she say something? Did something happen? She's like, oh no, nothing happened. Nothing happened. So I went to the back in the office and I knocked on the door and I walked in. And I see Stacy on her phone calculating of my pay. And I'm like, first of all, why isn't this ready? If you pick up the pay on Saturday, wasn't this supposed to be already like no? Okay. So she tells me, give me 1 minute. I walk back out and I wait until she calls me back in. So she calls me and she's like, Kiki, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? I need to know what's going on. What are you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, well, my son was sick on Friday and that's the reason why I haven't came in. And she's like, no, I need to know, like, what are you doing? What's going on? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I doing? I'm not quite sure. What do you mean? And she just would not spit it out. She kept saying, she probably said that about like 3-4 times until she finally spits it out. And she was like, I thought we were having the meeting today. She said, you're the one that set it up. And I'm like, hold on, wait. Just wait. Just everybody just relax. Okay, just chill. Because I had messaged you last night. And I had apologized for missing the meeting today. You did not correct me, okay? So if the meeting, in fact, what I had figured, and I was right, was Sunday, why didn't you correct me and say, hey, yes, there is no confusion. The meeting is Sunday. It is for Sunday, right? She didn't say that. So I have my phone and I'm pulling out the receipts and I'm reading word for word what she said. And I'm reading word for word what I'm saying, but she keeps stopping me and she's talking over me to the point where I just shut up and she just keeps complaining. And whilst I start to explain, she cuts me off and doesn't allow me to explain. It's like, but Tiffany called you. Tiffany said that she called you. And I'm like, yes, Tiffany did. Mind you, we're in the office. The door is closed, right? It's cracked open just a little bit. But I'm like, yes, Tiffany did call me. And I asked Tiffany, is there anything happening today? Why are you calling me? And Tiffany told me straight up, no. She was like, no, there's nothing happening today. She was like, yeah, but X, Y, and Z. And then she's like, why did you text me so late at night? I'm like, first of all, what we not gonna do, what you're not gonna do is ask me why I'm messaging you late at night. Because you messaged me, you opened up that box to message late at night. You did that. And the reason why I did is because you did. And the minute I said that, she just shut up. And that's when she mentioned the whole Tiffany calling me thing, right? So then she's like, well, anyway, we're not getting anywhere, right? Because I'm trying to let her know there was a miscommunication, there was a misunderstanding going on here. This is a misunderstanding, right? This is what's going on. It's a misunderstanding. She's like, anyway, so what are we doing now? She says, what are we doing now? And I'm like, no, I still do plan on staying with the company because I realized that she had already complained to me about other people just leaving the job, right? This is her fear that people just gonna walk off the job, and she's scared that I'm gonna do the same thing. Or not scared, but concerned this is happening again, right? So I'm like, no, I'm staying, X, Y, and Z, I'm staying. I got 10 minutes, guys. Well, less than that, because I gotta be out in 10. Anyway, so I'm like, no, I'm staying. And then she's like, no, what are you doing now? And she does that again, like 2 more times, and until she just spits it out. Are you staying for the meeting? And I'm like, yes, I have no problem staying for the meeting. We can train and X, Y, and Z. I have no problem staying for the meeting. If that's what you wanted, just ask me that. Don't have me guess what you're trying to say. I stay, and I'm not gonna lie, I was boiling inside. I was boiling because Tiffany, your bitch ass. I'm like, Tiffany, you knew I asked you if something was happening today. You said no. I could have easily turned back around, head back home, changed my clothes, look splicey. I could have so I walk out, I'm fuming. And Stacy made me feel as though I was the problem. And she explained everything to the T to me. So I walk out, I had attitude, and I'm like, you know what, let me just calm down. Let me just relax. And Tiffany has this book and she's writing down the different drinks, mixed drinks for the restaurant, right? And we're all taste testing it. We're taste testing, everything tastes good, and then you have the customer, the frequent customer, the lady at the end. And she's there, she wants to try everything. And she's frequent, so it's on the house, right? Her and I and the guy, we've all had really, really good conversations or whatever. So that whole thing happens, and I tried a blowjob for the first time, right? And here's the video. If I still have it, I'll post it here somewhere. And that whole thing happens, and then later on, customers start coming in. Tiffany is sitting down at the bar with one of the customers. Remind you, I'm off. Julian is standing by the register, and Stacy is sitting in the dining area. And I'm the only person talking to this customer because her and I, we were talking about relationships and stuff. We're talking. Customers are coming in. They're looking towards me to serve them. I politely walked around the bar. I sat down and I'm like, I'm not serving no one. I sat down next to the customer. She doesn't really need a name. And I'm like, yeah, we gonna talk because I'm off. I'm pissed at you, Tiffany, and to be quite frank with you, Stacy, I'm pissed with you as well. Okay, definitely at this point, I will not be working here. I leaves. Monday rolls around, and my son again isn't feeling too good. I'm like, well, Stacy's gonna be pissed at me. It is what it is, right? So I let her know. So I told Stacy, I said, good morning. I'm currently at the hospital with my son, and I have been for a few hours. I'm not sure if I'll be done in time for my shift, but I want to inform you. I'm so sorry for any inconvenience caused. So she says, good morning. It seems as though things are not working out. I will need to hire someone who can show up to work in X, Y, and Z. Hope your son gets well. So I'm like, all right, here's what we're not going to do. You're going to give me confirmation today because this was the problem, right? I asked her, I said, big and bold, just to have a clear understanding, am I being fired? She was like, miss, you can't be here to work at 10 o'clock when your shift starts. It is what it is. That was so unprofessional, right? It was so fucking unprofessional. So to that message, all I sent was a thumbs up because I already had an interview. I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. I'm Gucci, I'm straight. The following day, I had an interview, and that's where I'm working right now. But guys, I got to go. But let me just say before I go. So I'm actually in the middle of editing this video right now, and I realized that I forgot a very important part. So time goes on, and I end up seeing one of the frequent customers that would always sit down at the bar, right? And he's asking me like, hey, what happened? I haven't seen you in a while. I just wanted to check up and just see how everything is, right? So I'm giving him the whole rundown, and I'm letting him know I felt so bad, and I feel as though it's something that I did, and I know it looks so bad on my end for something like this to happen. And he says to me, listen, don't hurt your head. They have had many girls leave out on the job. Either they quit on their lunch break and never return, or they just walk out. And the reason why is because of Stacy. Stacy is the problem. Stacy has always been the problem, or you was probably sent by my angel, because I felt as though I was the problem. Let's not act like she was unprofessional. She was so unprofessional, but I felt like it was something that I did also, right? And I said I had no control over my son being sick. Tells me all of that. Don't hurt your head, because she's the problem. Either they quit on the first day, they quit on their lunch break, or they would just walk out. Okay, walk out of the place, the establishment. And I'm like, this is probably the reason why you have no staff in here, because your ass is very unprofessional. Never be so fucking desperate for a job when you put up with shit like this. And we look for signs and red flags in our relationships, right? There are red flags in a job as well. And the only reason why I had accepted that job was because I wasn't working for months. I needed to provide for me and my child. Look for those red flags. Don't be a dumbass like me. Don't do that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Tell me, in a situation, let me know. I know, first of all, let me just say my wrongs. I'm calling out Friday and Monday, but it is what it is. There was nothing that I could have done. My son was sick. He wasn't feeling well. So it was out of my control what had happened, but I knew it looked bad. I knew it looked bad, and I was aware that it looked bad, seeing that it was my first week. But let me know what you might have done in the situation. Do you think I was in the wrong? How you would have handled Stacy, and how you would have handled Tiffany. Let me know, guys. Anyway, thank you guys for watching today's story time. See you guys in the next video. Bye.